Hi, everyone. Today's lesson is on the during reading strategy called making predictions. So the learning target for today's lesson is I can make predictions about the text that I am reading. We are going to be using this during reading strategy with a picture book so that we all have the same understanding of what a prediction entails. Then I will have you practice this during reading strategy while you are reading your choice novels. And we will also use this during reading strategy throughout the school year with the class novels such as A Christmas Carol that we read. I'm really hoping that this during reading strategy can be generalized not only with your choice novels or with ELA class novels, but also in your other classes. It's a little different with nonfiction and fiction, but technically you can still make predictions while you're reading a social studies article or a science article. So, predictions. Predictions are actually educated guesses about what you think will happen next in a story or in an article. So, it's an educated guess. You have to support your prediction with a variety of things that I'll get into in this lesson, but it is still a guess. In order to make your prediction less of a just random guess and more of an educated guess, you can use pictures and text clues to help you make a prediction. So it's really important that you're not just getting frustrated with Mrs. Carestia saying, oh, she wants me to make a prediction and throw something down. You really want to use the cover, the back of the novel, any clues that you've already read in the text, and especially pictures. So this is a during reading strategy that you can use before you even start reading. For example, you can make a prediction before reading a story by using just the title and the pictures. One of my favorite picture books when I was growing up was Sylvester and the Magic Pebble. And I have a version where it is a read aloud, and we will use that probably as an assessment for making predictions. But we will also use other picture books to practice this because it does require a little bit more practice than some of the other during reading strategies, such as visualizing or looking up unfamiliar words. So not only can you use making predictions before reading, but obviously you can do it during reading. So an easy way of remembering to make a prediction, especially if you are outside of school and reading your choice novels, would be to stop every few pages or at the end of a chapter and make a prediction about what you think will happen next. There's a variety of ways where you can put your prediction. You can use stickies and just jot down your prediction and put that sticky inside the book on the page where you ended reading for the day. You can put it in your ELA notebook. Just make sure you jot down the page number so that you know where this prediction came from. You can use stickies on your computer. You can have a Google Doc and just keep a draft of all your predictions. The only thing that you really want to be careful about is if you're not putting the sticky in the book itself, you need to make sure that you jot down the page where you stopped reading and made the prediction. Otherwise, you and I will have no idea where you got the information and made the prediction. We will be using this when we read the novel A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens aloud. It's a higher level reading. It is probably, I would say, equivalent to a 9th grade level text. However, because we'll be reading it out loud, all of us will be able to access this. And like I said, we'll be making predictions both verbally as well as in class discussions, as well as in writing for that book. So This is the piece that I think annoys most readers. Making a prediction isn't just writing down what you think will happen next. Of course, it is that. But there's a second piece. The second piece is confirming or adjusting your prediction. So it doesn't end with you just writing down your prediction. When you are using predictions, your goal is to determine whether it was accurate or you needed to adjust it somewhat. And I'm going to go through the steps where it shows you how you confirm or adjust a prediction. Usually the confirmation or adjusting occurs the next day. So like I said, if you're at home reading for your independent reading goal and you make a prediction at the end of reading, you're going to close your book. The next day, you're going to read it again. If you find that your prediction is correct while you're reading, you're going to go back and confirm it. Put a check mark, say, yes, this happened. No, it didn't. If you have to adjust it where it says, no, it didn't happen, or pieces of it didn't happen, you're going to have to either use the sticky or wherever you've placed the information for your prediction and adjust that. And we're going to work on this. This is just an overview and keeping in mind what making a prediction entails. So if you are on target and you have read that your prediction is accurate, you have to cite textual evidence in support of it. Textual evidence is a quote. Now, I know that you guys have been practicing using evidence to support theme, setting, characterization, things like that. So when making a prediction, it's really important for you to be able to find the information in the text that supports that you were correct. Now, sometimes if it's your own choice novel, like you've purchased it, then you can, underline, highlight the confirmation, the textual evidence that supports it. However, most of us don't own the books, so you can either put another sticky, or you can, if you're not using stickies, you can go to your Google Doc or your ELA notebook and you write down the page and maybe just gently put a line there, or you can copy the sentence or sentences that show that your prediction was correct. But the key to confirming a prediction is finding textual evidence in the form of a quote that supports that you were accurate. Okay, adjusting takes a little bit more perseverance and persistence. So when you adjust a prediction, it means that your prediction was not on target. Maybe some pieces were accurate, maybe a lot of the pieces weren't accurate. There's some truth to it, but overall, you have to adjust it. What you said did not technically happen. Again, this is a little bit more complex than just confirming and finding the textual evidence, making a check mark and saying, okay, I was correct. So these are the steps that you take when you need to adjust your prediction. So step 1, summarize, meaning 1 or 2 sentences, what actually happened in the story. So again, you've made a prediction the day before. As you're reading the next day, you find out, that did not happen. I was completely off base, or I was inaccurate on a few details. Before you do anything, you want to write down, again, doesn't matter where, what actually happened in the novel that has to do with your prediction. This isn't a summary about everything you've read. It's about your prediction. That's why it's only a couple of sentences. Step 2 of adjusting your prediction is finding textual evidence in the form of a quote to support your summary. So say you said your prediction was, I predict that the main character, Scrooge, is going to remain grumpy. And you find out truly after reading it that the main character of Scrooge was very joyful. You would say the main character of Scrooge was very joyful at the end of the novel. And you would have to have a quote that shows that. And there's all kinds of quotes, and I'm not going to get into that. But it could be, one sentence where the character is exclaiming his joy. That's how you support your summary. This is showing me the textual evidence that proves that your summary of what happened during the reading is actually true. It sounds so much more than it really is. Step 3. Now you explain why your prediction was inaccurate. So I'm going to review just quickly, just so that you can have this verbally, auditorily, and we will be doing this in class, whether it's in person or online, over and over again. So after reading for your independent reading goal, you are going to make a prediction, when I've asked you to, of what is going to happen next in the story. The next time you read, and that's going to be put away, the next time you read, which is hopefully the next day, you will either confirm or adjust your prediction. Confirming means that you actually were very accurate. Your educational guess was on target. And you just need to note somewhere, either lightly underlining or writing it on a Google Doc or writing it in your ELA notebook or flagging it in your book, the textual evidence that shows that your prediction came true. And that's all you need for confirming. Again, adjusting has 3 steps. The first one is you need to, now that you know that your prediction is not on target in some way, you need to summarize in 1 or 2 sentences what actually happened after you read. Then you need to find textual evidence in the form of a quote to support your summary statements. Finally, this is where you explain how your prediction was different from what actually happened. So the whole process for confirming a prediction, you may have 2 or 3 sentences only, depending on how long your textual evidence is. For adjusting a prediction, it's the same thing. You have 2 sentences, up to 2 sentences to tell me what happened in the book. Textual evidence, sometimes it's 1 sentence, sometimes it's a couple, and then just 1 or 2 sentences explaining how your prediction was off target. So it's about 5 sentences. And again, we will be practicing this very explicitly before I have you do it on your own.